What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the TCG Empire YouTube channel. Today we're taking a look at Lugia VSTAR. You guys should know what Lugia VSTAR does by now. It, for 4 energy, has Tempest Dive, does 220, and you can discard a Stadium in play. And then you also have Summoning Star, where during your turn you may put 2 colorless Pokemon that don't have a rule box from your discard pile onto your bench. So, as most of you know, Lugia has been a dominant deck within the format, whether it be colorless or single strike. But with Paradox Rift, we got some new cards to work with, and it's made Lugia, especially the colorless version, a lot more versatile. So, as mentioned, with the Summoning Star, you do get out Archeops. Archeops has the Primal Turbo ability. Once during your turn, you can search your deck for up to 2 special energy and attach them to one of your Pokemon. So you get major energy acceleration, and then you can attack with cards like Snorlax, which has the Unfazed Fat ability, so you prevent all effects of attacks from your opponent's Pokemon done to this Pokemon. So it means that Sableye can't do pings, it means that anything that really places damage counters can't do anything, and then Thumping Snore, 180 damage, the Pokemon's now asleep, and then you have to flip 2 heads in order to wake up. It's one of the big drawbacks with Snorlax, but there's cards to deal with it. But the big cards that we have are the Iron Hands EX. Now, Iron Hands EX, if we've taken a look at this week, Ampy very much is very strong against one-prize decks. It really helps you to, play to your best abilities and actually fix your prize mapping. So with Lugia, rather than your opponent taking 2 prizes for knocking out a Lugia with a single prizer or anything, it gives you the chance to fix your prize trade, or, it gives you a chance to actually increase your prize trade depending on how you go about it. So Ampy very much is very strong. We are also playing Radiant Charizard with the Combustion Blast. Now, Excited Heart makes it to where you can attack for a single fire energy when you use it later in the game, and that's really what it's in here for. There's also Mew, because Restart is very good, as well as Genome Hacking. It means that you can kind of play around, and the fact that you can accelerate 3 energy is huge. It means that you can power up a Mew in 1 turn to kind of set up for what you need to do. Now, the card that actually makes this deck work is Earthen Vessel. So, Earthen Vessel, you discard a card from your hand, search your deck for up to 2 basic energies. With the Iron Hands, as well as the Charizard, there's no Rainbow Energy in format, except for Luminous Energy, but Luminous Energy does not work because if you have other special energies attached, it has no effect. So to work with that, we are playing a single fire energy as well as a single lightning energy. This means that you can search out the energies, attach for turn, and then accelerate, and based on what you search, you can either power up an Iron Hands in a single turn, or if you need to use Radiant Charizard, you can attack for 1 energy and make it work. Overall, though, this core is pretty much just the typical colorless Lugia build. We are running 3 Boss, 3 Iono, 3 Research, and then 1 Burnett just to help discard Archeops. And then we're only running 1 Therapeutic Energy, which sometimes is a little bit off. With running Snorlax, normally you would increase the count, but we are running increased counts of Jet Energy, so there's 2 Jets in here. And just overall, the aspect of the deck is to just kind of cycle through with Jet Energy. You don't really search it out to attach, you just hold on to it. And then it makes Thumping Snore actually more versatile because you have ways to attack with it. So overall, though, this deck is really fun, and the inclusion of Iron Hands has definitely been huge. So as always, the deck list will be posted right here so you guys have a full clean view of it. And in the description will also be the copied and pasted list so you guys can put it into Pokemon Trading Card Game Live and try the deck out for yourselves. As always, I want to thank you guys for all of the love and support. I always tell you guys, because it's always true, you have been killing it on all of the videos lately, especially with Paradox Rift being legal. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the content. I really put my heart and soul into everything, and none of this would be possible without you guys. So, if you are new here, I need you to do me 3 things. I need you to like the video if you're brand new. I need you to subscribe to the channel, and I need you to turn on post notifications. That way you never miss an upload, and you can see all the times that I put out content for you guys. But again, with that being said, thank you guys for everything, and I hope you enjoy the gameplay. Later. Alrighty, guys, let's get into the very first game with Lugia, see what we can do, hopefully get a good setup going, hopefully be able to pull off the Iron Hands, the way that we want to. And I just got a Snapchat notification, so we got to check that real quick. It's the boy Zach sending his nightly streaks. So my opponent is letting us go first, so this kind of makes me think that we're playing against something like I have a feeling that we're playing against something like oh, it's Lost Box. Interesting. Okay. So it's not what I was thinking. I thought we were playing against Roaring Moon for a second. So the first thing we're going to do is capturing Aroma. Our hand is actually looking like amazing. So we do get to grab a basic. So we'll grab Snorlax here. Put down the Snorlax. We'll go capturing Aroma again. Hit Tails once more, which is fine. We'll grab a second Lugia just to be on the safer end of things. And we'll bench this. We'll go Great Ball, and we do hit the Archeops, so now we have an Archeops to discard next turn. We can also Lumineon next turn if we choose to. And we have access to Snorlax as well, so definitely not looking too bad. Honestly, I don't think my opponent's gonna find a way to set up something like a Raikou, so I'm not too worried about that. Let me just pull this up, that way we got some light. But you guys can actually see my face. But Battle VIP pass coming down. There's the Comfy and the Greninja. So if we can get a Hands going, Hands actually will be huge. And it seems like my opponent's playing Kyogre. So that is going to be something to keep in mind. So there's a Force Seal Stone getting discarded. There's the Hisuian Heavy Ball. So we're just going to have to kind of play this, not aggro, but make sure we put ourselves in a spot to where my opponent's not able to fully accelerate as much as they want to. So there's the first flower selecting, getting rid of a Mirage Gate, which is perfect. There's the Dragonite, a Force Seal Stone. The only annoying thing is that Tempest Dive does only hit 220, so we have no way to quite, KO a Dragonite just yet, but we do have the Jet Energy on Snorlax, which means that we can get a Therapeutic and a Gift Energy and potentially set up from there. So there is a Counter Catcher and a Sableye. We don't have to worry about the Counter Catcher right now. There's a Switch Cart into the second Comfy. So what I'm thinking we're going to do is we'll probably go Snorlax, try and get 2 prizes, and then we'll KO a Dragonite. And then after the Dragonite KO, we'll just start picking apart my opponent's board and try and set up a Hands. So we could actually take 2 prizes here and then force 2, but then we're still going to have to go for 2 regardless. So there's an Escape Rope. My opponent just milled a Colorless, which is perfect. I'm trying to think of the best way to initiate what it is I want to do, because I don't have a way to one-shot Dragonite, so I definitely do have to be a little bit weary. So my opponent's going to go to 6 in the Lost Zone, so they could get a turn 1-7, and if they do that, then Dragonite will be promoted. But that also puts 20 damage on my opponent's bench, so I don't know, it's depending on how many times they really want to use Dragonite. So there's an Escape Rope. We'll just go into the Snorlax. If Snorlax gets KO'd by Dragonite, I'm completely okay with that, because then we can put damage on the Dragonite, and Dragonite can't have a belt. So they could get a belt on Dragonite, but they would have to vacuum away the Force Seal Stone, and most lists only play around 2, so. Alright, so my opponent just passes with attaching to a Dragonite, and we do get Iona, which is good. So what I'm thinking we do is we'll go Lugia. I'm going to have to bench the Lumineon in order to search out the Burnett. That way I can discard. So we'll go Burnett. Burnett will let us get rid of the 2 Archeops. So looking at what's prized, there's nothing that's like too insanely terrible that's prized. We do have our fire energy prize, so we can't attack with Charizard just yet. But it's not the end of the world by any means. So we'll go Summoning Star, bring out the 2 Archeops. And if my opponent takes 2 prizes next turn, we're in a good spot. So we'll go Primal Turbo. And with the Turbo, we'll grab... We also have our Therapeutic prize, so that's something to definitely keep in mind. So we'll go V-Guard, and then we'll also go a DTE. And considering the fact that my opponent has Dragonite out, they could go Raikou, which definitely could be annoying. I think I do have to attack with Snorlax here, which is fine. So we'll go Archeops, and then we'll go into the Snorlax. So we'll go a DTE, and then there's nothing that really I need to look for. So we'll just put a DTE and a gift. And then now we have the Jet Energy for this Lugia next turn, so even if we stay asleep with the Thumping Snore, we're in a good spot. So, Thumping Snore, we can take a prize. We do get a research. We're probably going to play Iono next turn if my opponent takes 2 prizes. So, we get double heads, so we do actually get to wake up, which is huge. Means that we don't have to waste a jet and then potentially go into swing with Lugia, so we're looking pretty good. It's just going to be, honestly, playing the long game. If my opponent goes Sableye and goes after the Archeops, I'll have to take 3 turns to KO the Archeops, and at that point, it's not going to be, you know, a lot of pressure on me. Well, actually, correction. They could go 120 and then knock out with 30 and then 90. So yeah, it would be 3 turns of Archeops getting KO'd. So my opponent gets rid of Manaphy and Avery. The nice thing though is that if we damage this Dragonite and leave it with 10, we can actually use Iron Hands to clean up and take 3 prizes, and then if they don't have a way to deal with the Iron Hands, we get the most benefit out of it. So I really don't want to give my opponent anything, honestly. I think the only thing that doesn't get KO'd here is Lugia. So we'll go into Lugia. And then we do have the Jet Energy as well, so. And if my opponent goes into something like Sableye, it's annoying, but, you know, it's not the end of the world. And we do have Iono, and my opponent's deck is running pretty thin, so we might actually be able to, you know, just put them on the verge of decking out as well. And we can even attack with Archeops if we want to as well. We can go Speedwing. So, I mean, as long as we just play the 1 prize race like my opponent is, we should be fine, especially considering the fact that we do have the hands, so. Now, if my opponent goes Raikou here, it's definitely tough, but there's a Sableye, so that's fine. And my opponent can't do Sableye ping on Snorlax, so we're in a good spot with that. And they're only hitting 220 with Dragonite, so they have to put at least 60 onto Lugia in order to finish a knockout. So my opponent just Mirage Gates 1, and there's the attach. There's a switch cart into Dragonite, which is completely fine. So counter catcher, bringing up the other Lugia. My opponent's going to be able to take 2 prizes, but I'm not really too worried about that. We're definitely going to swing with the Snorlax this turn, though. That way it's just a single prizer in the active. And then we do have access to the Jets as well. So, let's see. I think the best thing here is probably going to be Iono. Let's see. My opponent has 1 Colorless left potentially. Pidgeot's gone, so they do have the chance to deck out. They got rid of a Sableye, a Super Rod. They have potentially 2 more Mirage Gates left, so honestly, I'm thinking we'll just Iono, put ourselves to 5, and then see what we can do. So we do get Collapsed City, which is good, or Collapsed Stadium, so we can actually collapse away the Luminion, which is huge. So I think that's exactly what we're going to do, and either way, my opponent's kind of forced to get rid of something that they don't want to get rid of. Cram can attack for free. Comfy's help to kind of go through the board. So, and we have the Earthen Vessel as well as Capturing Aroma, so we might actually be able to take 3 prizes next turn. So the first thing we'll do is Primal Turbo. Just take a look at what's in the deck. So we do have a couple things to work with. We have V-Guard, Jet Energy. So I think just to kind of set up some more, we'll just grab a V-Guard and a Gift. And we'll put those on the Snorlax here. And then we also have Mezagoza next turn as well as Capturing Aroma. So we can Mezagoza and then we can also potentially Hard Retreat, go from there. So, and we flip double heads again, which means that we do wake up, which is huge. It's fantastic. Either way, my opponent's in an awkward spot because there's not really... There's 1 prizers on board, and their Dragonite can't take a knockout on Lugia. So either way, you know, we're doing as much as we can. We can honestly just swing with a Snorlax again and go to 3. And then when my opponent goes to 2, we can go to 2, and then my opponent should only be able to take 1. And then we can finish cleaning up with an Iron Hands to take our last 2 prizes, so... And we also do get the draw off of Gift Energy, providing that my opponent takes a knockout here. So we're in a really good position for what we're trying to do. So there's a Dragon Gale just for 250. And we do get to draw, so we do get a couple cards to look at. And we do get a V-Guard Energy. The V-Guard Energy... honestly... I think I can set up the Iron Hands this turn. Yeah, I think I'm going to go for the Iron Hands play to go to 2. Because then if my opponent just, you know, doesn't do anything, if they don't have a way to actually KO the Iron Hands, we're in a super solid spot. So the first thing we'll do is use Capturing Aroma just to get a look in the deck. And we actually hit heads for once. So we'll grab the Lugia. So we need the Iron Hands, which we have. And then we have the DTE as well as the Jet. And we have this in hand. So we should be okay. And we can also Iono my opponent to 3. And also kind of take away a lot of their board. So we'll go Great Ball. Unfortunately, you know, there's not too much that I really want off of that. So what I'm going to have to do here is hope I can hit heads off of the Mezagoza, and if I can, then I can set up the hands. So, because the hands play is honestly going to be like the most important thing on what I need to do, so. And we do hit heads, which is great. Because now we can grab the Iron Hands, and let me make sure that we have Iono in the deck, and we do. So we can put my opponent to a low hand size. We can attach here. And then we can go 1 Primal Turbo just to be safe. So we got the DTE and the Jet. So now we are good to set up and start swinging. And even if my opponent gets Raikou, there's not too much they can do. And if my opponent ends up getting a KO with the Dragonite again, they're not going to really be able to do anything because Dragon Gale will finish knockouts on their board here. So I'm not going to bench the Luminion because it's just going to be, honestly, bench-sitting fodder. So we'll get rid of the DTE, keep the V-Guard, and then we'll go Hands. And then Hands can use Ampy very much. We'll take 3. And then my opponent has to find a way to deal with this Iron Hands in the active. Otherwise, they just lose the game. And if my opponent actually goes for a... Dragon Gale again, we actually have the ability to use Radiant Zard to finish the game off. So there's a Super Rots. My opponent is going to go for the Dragon Gale play, which is fair. I mean, there wasn't really too much that my opponent could do. So they hit Tails on the Mezagoza, which is good. There's a Nest Ball. And if my opponent takes a knockout here, then they go to 1 prize, which means that we can freely attack with the Charizard and secure the game. So Ampy very much definitely is super clutch in this matchup. It, makes it to where instead of playing against a bunch of 1 prizers, playing against technically 2 prizes when you need it to be. So there's the Dragonite coming out. And there's Roxanne. So Roxanne is a little bit rough. So I need to, let's see. I need to hit Capturing Aroma into Lumineon. And that's really my win con. So the other win con that I have is that my opponent can't actually take a knockout without potentially losing, because even if they take 1 prize, we're still in an okay spot. So we'll go Lugia. So we have 2 chances to find something. There's 3 with Collapse. So the first thing we'll do is the Mezagoza. Hopefully we can hit heads. And we do, which means we can grab the Lumineon. So we could also grab Mew as well. Mew can actually... Do we have 3 energy in deck? We have exactly 3. So me promoting that Lugia may have just sealed my fate. I think what I have to go for is the Lumineon into the Professor's Research. So let's see what we can do. So there is the... We'll go Capturing Aroma first, see if we can grab anything from the deck. So we do hit heads to grab an evolution. Honestly, we'll just get rid of the Lugia. So we'll go Lumineon, and now we have to just kind of hope for the big hit. So we'll grab the Research. We'll go Archeops. Archeops is going to grab us some of the energy that we need to work with. So we can just grab these energy and slap them onto the Lugia. We'll go here, grab the last energy. Now I have to hit the Vessel or the Fire Energy and then the Charizard. So this is going to be a super huge Research. And we are able to hit it, so we can actually take the game. So we can retreat for 2. Go into the Zard, and then use that Combustion Blast for 250. Just like we were talking about before, we actually hit the Roxanne play and had to shuffle back. So we had 2 energy prize. Definitely was a little bit tricky, but I think Ampu very much into, going into Charizard just kind of really did what we needed it to. We were able to take a single prize and then take 3 off of a Dragonite, put us at 2, and then if my opponent went into another way to attack, then we came up with the Charizard. So it's kind of, the best way to play it out. The Ampy very much definitely helps to fix some of your prize math. That way it's not as complicated. So if you guys did enjoy today's video, do me a favor, smash the like button, subscribe, turn on post notifications. If you guys made it this far into the video, comment a fire emoji down below in the description. But with that being said, thank you guys for everything, and I will catch you in tomorrow's video. Later.